In an alternate timeline, imagine the United States using bomb-laden balloons during the War of 1812. These rudimentary weapons, devoid of pilots and steering, relied on hope and wind direction for effectiveness. Their historical impact might be debatable, but for a financially struggling and barely industrialized U.S., they presented a viable option against Britain. These balloons could have been deployed during the U.S. invasion of Canada. While muskets might have downed a few, most would still drop shrapnel bombs on unsuspecting targets below, spreading shock and awe. However, these balloons were unpredictable, often drifting into trees or back towards American lines. The first engine-powered airship, created in 1852, featured a lightweight steam engine. Though incapable of significant power, such early experiments hinted at the potential of airships if given proper funding and military interest. With adequate resources and support, airships might have become prominent by the latter half of the 19th century. During the Civil War, both the North and the South used hot air balloons for reconnaissance. In this alternate timeline, more ambitious uses were considered. The less industrialized South struggled to build airships, but the Union, with its superior resources, might have developed more advanced versions. These airships, designed to be lightweight and stable, wouldn't carry heavy weaponry but could deploy incendiary devices, useful for targeting enemy cities and civilian areas without engaging troops directly. Using flammable weapons on hydrogen-filled airships was risky, but with safety precautions, it was plausible. Despite their slow speed and limited altitude, these airships could bypass enemy formations, making them valuable propaganda tools. The Union could boast about using industrial power to devastate the South, while the Confederacy might retaliate with balloon bombs. Though these weapons wouldn't change the war's outcome, their symbolic value was immense. They signaled a new era of warfare, prompting industrialized nations to take airships seriously and develop countermeasures. By the 1870s, during the Prussian siege of Paris, the Prussians used a balloon-specific cannon, though its effectiveness was debatable. Still, in this alternate timeline, nations prioritized anti-airship technology, fearing these seemingly unstoppable flying machines. The slow development of anti-aircraft technology in our timeline stemmed from a lack of immediate threat. However, in this alternate history, the fear of airships spurred rapid advancements. Nations would develop railway guns, mechanical computers, tracer rounds, and explosive ammunition to counter airship threats. By 1903, Kansas saw the discovery of natural gas, and with it, helium, a safer, non-flammable alternative to hydrogen. This shifted the balance, as helium-filled airships wouldn't explode, making them more viable for military and civilian use. This period also coincided with the Wright brothers' flight, but in this alternate reality, airships remained dominant. During World War I, airships played a critical role. The Zeppelin's raids on London in our timeline had a psychological impact, but in this alternate history, nations were prepared. Technologies like radar and improved ammunition developed faster, rendering airships less effective in warfare. The age of the airship in combat would end as quickly as it began. Ironically, the early military adoption of airships in this alternate history hastened their obsolescence in warfare. However, they found new life in civilian transportation. The golden age of airships in the 1930s, highlighted by leisurely flights and transoceanic travel, might have been safer and longer-lasting in this timeline. Issues like the Hindenburg disaster could have been mitigated by better designs that limited static electricity buildup and used helium instead of hydrogen. While airships eventually gave way to airplanes, their legacy in this alternate timeline was more robust. They remained a staple of early aviation history, symbolizing a brief but significant era of innovation and adventure in the skies.